Okay, so here's our basic story. And yes, all of this is our basic memories. I kept it in a diaper box. All right, so the only reason why my husband joined the military is because at the time he was technically homeless. He was living with a friend. Him and I were not together. He was in a really bad place. He was doing, really bad things. And he, realized that our hometown was just a black hole. And if we stayed there, he was never going to get out of the situation that we were in. Me and the kids had our own house. It was a 2-bedroom, tiny little house. And I get a phone call from him one day, basically like begging me back and saying that he joined the military and that he wanted to get married and he, wanted a different life for us. At the time, I was pissed off because I was like, why would you go to a recruiter's office and sign up for the military without even consulting me? Like, we have kids, you didn't even run it by me. So I'll be honest, I was pissed off. So the whole reason why he was homeless to begin with was because I did find out that he was doing bad things behind my back. And I told him he needed to get out and get his life together because I couldn't allow that to be around our kids. So then he moved in with his mom and his mom found out about it. So then she told him the same thing, like, you can't be here if you're going to be around that, because he had a younger sister who was underage. And so then he moved in with his friend. And his friend was actually the one who encouraged him to join the military. I think his friend knew the greater good and knew that the military would shape him up and also kind of be like a rehab for him. I've always known that Chance wanted our family, but I think he's just had so many demons that it was hard for him to work through. He had a really rough childhood, and I really truly believe that he joined the military to, take care of his family, and I appreciate him more than anything for that. So we all went to MEPS, and it was like October. And we found out that he would ship out to basic on December 28th of 2015. So time goes on, he moves back in with me, we get back together, and things are going really good. I can see that he's excited about, being able to be the man of the family and be a father to our kids. So Christmas Day comes around and he actually did propose to me. It's something that I had been dreaming about since we were 14 years old. So obvi, I said yes. And 3 days later after Christmas, he shipped out to basic. His basic was at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Him leaving was so hard. The goodbyes are the worst, especially because I had never been gone from him for longer than a week. Here's when we were at MEPS, and this is the airport. This part's so sad. Like I said, the goodbye is the worst part. We cried and cried and cried. I didn't even know I could cry that much. All right, let's get to these juicy bad boys. Okay, I'm not going to read you all of this because it is personal and to the heart, but I'm going to read you what he said to me in our Valentine's Day card because it's just way too cute. I couldn't imagine a life without a person as special as yourself. To this day, the sight of you makes my heart drop every single time I see you. I love him. I love you, Taylor Ray, soon to be Fry. I hope you know you're still my baby girl. That's me. I hate this place. I'm dying for a candy bar and a Mountain Dew right about now. He wrote a lot of personal letters, just basically explaining how much he hated it and how stupid people were and that they cleaned a lot. They did a lot of chores, all kinds of crazy things. But everybody else's basic story is different. Some are fine with it. Some they're ready to die, and some don't make it at all. Look at this hunk. But basically, once he got to Fort Leonard Wood, he was allowed one call, and he did call me. He called me and just told me that he was fine. After that phone call, about 3 weeks later, I got my first letter. Just explaining, how much he missed me, how much he loved me. Chance is not a man of many words, so everything that he wrote in his letters were kind of like what I needed to hear. And we were able to open up to each other on a very personal level. I don't know what it is about writing letters, but I always tell people it is so good for your marriage to just sit down and write how you feel on paper. So take note of that. But anyway, about a week after his first letter, I got a phone call. And that was my first phone call since he got there. And oh my God, let me just tell you, it was like a breath of fresh air. I think we talked on the phone for 20 minutes. And I was ecstatic. And he was too, you could hear it in his voice. And we both cried when he had to go. So during this whole entire time he's at basic, I'm planning our wedding, which was set for April 22nd. Yes, I had from December 25th to April 22nd to plan a wedding and inviting 500 people. It was a time, let me tell you that much. but his basic was only like 3.5 months. It wasn't too brutal. I've heard some people being gone for as long as a year. Just depends on your job and honestly what branch you are. But we're writing letters and he's able to call me more and more as time's going on. Meanwhile, I'm taking care of our house and our 2 children and like I said, planning a wedding. Time was crazy. But it's getting closer and closer for basic to be done. And we find out that he gets Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which we were ecstatic about because that's only like 5.5 hours away from our family. But oh my gosh, let me just tell you, the closer and closer it came to graduation, time was going by so freaking slow. I did want to add this story because it's hilarious, but I actually had my bachelorette party like 2 weeks before graduation. We just had a small little pure romance party. Nothing crazy. I did get really drunk though. Let me just show you one of the games we played. The lady on the bottom is my mother. The lady on the top is who I consider to be one of my grandmas. Here's a selfie from that night because your girl was looking good. Here's some of the people that came to my bachelorette party. This girl right here passed away. Hannah, RIP girl, I miss you. But anyway, back to my basic story. So it's getting closer to time and I'm getting antsy as ever. Chance calls me to let me know that he doesn't know if we'll get leave for us to get married April 22nd. He was graduating on April 14th. So I was panicking. This is our very first experience with the military. So I didn't know about, hurry up and wait. Didn't know about that. So all the planning I did, your girl was hot. I didn't know what we were going to do. Would we be allowed to go to Campbell with him? Are we going to have to push the wedding back? I did not know. All right, so graduation time. It was me, my grandma, Chase and Amela. We only had 2 kids at the time. And then his mom and his sister, and then also our other friends, the guy he actually stayed with when he joined basic, Matt and Sarah, and then their little boy. So we all drove down from Ohio to Missouri to go see him. And they're doing their little ceremony thing. I could not pick him out from anybody because all of the dudes look exactly the same in their uniforms. Once the ceremony was over and they were allowed to go hug their family members, I couldn't find him from anywhere. But he found me, and let me just say, that hug was incredible. Seeing him again was amazing. Here's some pictures from that day. Our babies were so little. He had just turned 3 and she was only 10 months old. But like I said, we had no idea if he was going to get leave yet. So he came back to the hotel with us. And within a 20-minute span, we decided we're going to get married right then and there. So we called up the courthouse and we got married in Waynesville, Missouri.
I pronounce when we have a wife. You make us your bride.
We still ended up having our wedding a week later, April 22nd, with all of our friends and family. We just legally had to get married right then and there. Plus, honestly, we wanted to. We could not wait to be married. And that moment was so special and intimate, I wouldn't take it back for the world. But we had a really fun wedding. But honestly, our basic experience wasn't that bad. It felt like it took forever just because, we didn't hardly get to speak to each other. But if you ever have any questions, y'all, about basic or anything, really, I'm your girl. Been through a lot of it. We've been through basic, deployment, all kinds of trainings. If you have any questions, hit your girl up. I love you all. And thank you so much for listening to me talk and supporting my journey. Y'all are the best. Much love.